Hello, good evening. You're watching the Gambia Radio and Television Services, and this is the news coming to you straight from Banjul. Also coming up, President Adam Barrow tours several roads within the Greater Banjul area as part of the proposed OIC project meant to transform the road infrastructure within the metropolis. Also coming up, the impact of rain showers continue as heavy downpour in the Central River region leave many families struggling for shelter. And away from home, gunmen in Nigeria's Zamfara state threatened to kill students who were kidnapped if a ransom of $850,000 is not paid. And elsewhere, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development urges South Sudan's Peace Party to expedite the implementation of the country's 2018 agreement. And in sports, Steve Biko returns to the top tier of Gambian football after winning a playoff game at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. Well, these and many other stories coming ahead in the news. I am Fatu Janimbaye. Many thanks for joining us. Hello and welcome to the news, and now we begin this bulletin with the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Adam Barrow, who Friday toured several roads within the Greater Banjul area. The roads as part of the proposed OIC project, which seeks to transform the road infrastructure ahead of the summit next year. And as we hear in this report by Momodu Jallo, the tour has raised expectations among the people of the affected areas.
The President, His Excellency Adam Barrow, set out this morning for a monitoring tour of proposed roads earmarked for construction under the OIC projects. The President, accompanied by officials of the National Roads Authority and OIC Gambia, sought to see the roads which are part of a $50 million project that is set to transform the road infrastructure within the Greater Banjul area.
But all the time, I see this road on the map. I say, no, that is not enough. I have to go physical and see the roads. And really, I'm very, very happy because if these roads are done, they will be alternative roads. They will upgrade the Gambia. They will reduce the congestion. And now, we have agreed with the contractor. We have identified contractors. We are now waiting for no objection from Saudi Arabia. The moment we have no objection, definitely work will start proper. And I think that will be very, very soon.
The process leading to this has been long and arduous, but the President is optimistic that works will start in earnest after meeting all the criteria set out by partners and securing funding.
You cannot develop without roads. Without roads, there will be no development. The roads is a game changer. So we have done over 600 kilometers now. With this, it will make a huge difference as far as our infrastructural development is concerned.
These roads are some of the most strategic within the Greater Banjul area, and their proposed construction, according to the Gambian leader, is a game changer, as it will decongest the cities and allow the free flow of traffic.
These roads are about $50 million project. 50 kilometers and 50 million. And we have another road that is the dual carriage that will be about $82 million. So combined, you are talking about $132 million. This is a huge project. This is a very, very big project. This is a game changer. It will change the life of the people, especially people who live around this area. You have lot 1 that is KMC, and lot 2 is West Coast region.
The projects are divided into 2 lots, distributed amongst 4 contractors to expedite works. The tour generated excitement amongst the affected communities as people lined the roads to welcome the President as he drove through bumpy and water-filled streets in Kololi, through Brufut Wulinkama to Suguta, and later Serekunda, Joko, and New Joshua.
I will tell the Gambian people to cooperate with us, to support us while we are doing this road. Because without this cooperation, we cannot do the road. And this is national interest. National interest first before personal interest. I will call on every Gambian to support us, support the OIC roads, support the contractors, support the government, so that we can all fulfill this project together.
The President saw firsthand the condition of the roads, met local community leaders and gave assurances that the project will be completed within the agreed time frame. For now, the people within the greater Banjul area will feel reassured that government is serious about tackling the acute road problems within this populous area, where movement from one part to the other can be a nightmare.
In the reaction of the people, you will know very well that they need these roads. These roads have been done years past. So definitely, I think the people appreciate what we are doing, and they are really very happy seeing that these roads are coming to start.
The monitoring tour ended in Suguta, where the President performed Friday prayers at the Central Mosque. Modu Jallo, GRTS News.
And now, the National Association of Artisanal Fisheries Operators in the Gambia on Friday convened a day-long sensitization workshop on the protection of critical sites for small pelagics in the Gambia. The convergence, as we hear in this report by GRTS's Baba Silla, is aimed at protecting and managing the marine resources, particularly the limited pelagic fish, which according to officials are at risk of over-exploitation.
The day-long forum is aimed at protecting the critical site for pelagic development to improve co-management, responsible fishing, eradicate poverty, and increase food security and employment. These socio-economic benefits can only be achieved and sustained by promoting the effective management of small pelagic fisheries, which is crucial in protecting associated marine biodiversity in the Gambia.
It is the intent of NAFO, NASCOM, and Avicosa to work with the government and other stakeholders to provide overfishing and IUU fishing in scenario and endorse that current benefits can be sustained for current and further generation. If we can do this, then we can also achieve improved economic benefits from the people through improvement in fisheries value chain.
Putting in place governance arrangement to sustain these benefits, according to the president of the association, must be a key priority. Madam Toy added that if effective governance policies are not put in place, the bounty that can be harvested from the sea will be placed at risk and would consequently lead to the decline of food security and income for fishermen, fishmongers, processors, and exporters. The Department of Parks and Wildlife Management, Musa Jammeh, who also double as the Rampai focal point, explained the main objective of association and appeal for collaboration for the effective preservation of marine resources, particularly pelagic fish, which according to him is limited and has been exploited for far too long.
It is aimed at building capacity of local fishermen and of local people, local communities that deal with fisheries. Also, the other aim is to build management capacity of protected area managers and to foster stakeholder collaboration. That means the tripartite agreement has to be reached. That is the Fisheries Department, the Department of Parks and Wildlife, and Rampau has come up with the idea of working together to make sure that this exercise is done.
Anna Mbenga Cham, the acting director of fisheries and the acting permanent secretary at the Ministry of Fishery, Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, Omar S.M. Diba, unanimously called for increased capacity building and advocacy efforts to protect marine resources, particularly pelagic fish.
It is a known fact that during the spawning period, fish normally migrates to shallow waters, that is the lagoons, tributaries, distributaries, estuaries, or near the shore in the mangroves or syrups to spawn, nurse their young and feed. However, threats such as overexploitation, increase in fishing effort, marine pollution of land-based origins, climate change, and other anthropogenic threats.
Strategic on the improvement of data collection systems, as well as scientific knowledge on critical stocks. and the sites of small pelagics in West African region, as well as protect these resources, that is the small pelagics that are utilized daily on our dishes to give us the right animal protein that we deserve to keep healthy as a healthy nation.
During the day-long forum, officials will define their roles for the protection and management of critical sites identified for small pelagic fish resources in the Gambia, and also to come up with concrete recommendations for the protection of these important locations. For GRTS News, I am Baba Silla.
And elsewhere, the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, His Excellency David Belgrove, has emphasized the need for the protection of marine resources for the economic and environmental benefits. The British diplomat was speaking at a closing ceremony of a British-funded training on international maritime legal course for 20 personnel of the Gambian Navy. Ibrahim Ajala picks up the rest of that story.
A quarter guard honor for the British High Commissioner to the Gambia, David Belgrove, on arrival at the Navy headquarters in Banjul. The mission was transformative as he witnessed the closure of a capacity building program for personnel of the Gambian Navy, courtesy of the British government. The training on international maritime law was said to be an ardent need. Madani Senghor, commander of the Gambian Navy, and Colonel Sidi Diouf, director of training at the Gambia Armed Forces, explained.
Having a broad knowledge in international maritime law is an imperative to ensure the effective discharge of one of our major functions. Understanding the rights and obligations of the ship owners, the fishing trawlers, the seafarers, and other users of the sea would promote safety and security in the maritime domain, as well as enhance our efficiency in maritime law enforcement.
For us, the Gambia Armed Forces, capacity building is our priority. The sky is not only the limit, but we want to go beyond the sky. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the British Defence Section and the entire British Armed Forces for taking the lead in the transformation of the Gambia Armed Forces. To the graduates, I wish to congratulate you for successfully completing this very important training and advise you to utilize the knowledge gained in execution of your duties with due diligence.
Colonel Cooper is a liaison officer for the British Defence Ministry and a resource person on the subject matter.
This course is part of a much wider effort. We have in recent months been doing a lot as we both try and support the United Nations better and the rule-based international order. You'll be aware that we're putting a lot of effort in at the moment with the Army to help prepare for the United Nations Quick Reaction Force operation that we're all working towards. And we had a very successful course with the Royal Military Police as they train with you to ensure that we're all policing to international standards.
The British High Commissioner to the Gambia said the training provides a wide range of benefits for the Gambia and beyond, citing environmental and economic reasons.
When fishing grounds are illegally exploited, it has a considerable impact. Vast numbers of people around the world rely on upon the sea. Their survival depends upon the ocean's capacity for renewal, which can only be maintained if we take an intelligent approach now to looking after these underlying natural systems and enable the oceans to function and regenerate. And it's not just an environmental issue, it is also a serious economic issue.
A 3-day training for 20 personnel of the Gambian Navy has officially come to an end here in Banjul, thanks to the British government through the Ministry of Defence. The training is said to be essential in uplifting the knowledge and technical capacity of the Navy on international maritime laws and regulations. This will enable the Gambian Navy to efficiently keep constant watch at sea
for national and international importance. Ibrahima Jallo, GRTS News.
And now moving forward, the impact of rain showers after Wednesday's heavy rains in the Central River region have left several households devastated in Karantabatenda village after floods engulfed their houses, leaving many families seeking shelter. Modula Minsane tells us more.
Scenes of massive devastation unfolded for people in Karantabatenda after Wednesday night's heavy downpour flooded multiple houses, leaving many, including the Ture and Sisekunda families, struggling to save their homes. The heavy rains lasted for more than an hour. Witnesses here say the downpour over flooded waterways, forcing the water into these family compounds on the edge of the village. The community feeder road has only one culvert, and that is not enough to ease the flow of water. The situation could have been worse, but we thank God that it stops at these few compounds. Many valuables were lost to the raging waters that also destroyed 3 houses, ravaging clothing and farm proceeds. Victims here are left with nothing. There was too much water flow, and that is why it forced its way into our houses, destroying everything we have. I was in my bedroom when everything started, and when I realized that the houses were inundated with water, that is when I evacuated my family, and nobody sustained injury. There were no casualties, even though some of these buildings collapsed into the floods. Villagers rushed quickly to respond, helping victims to salvage the few belongings left by the waters.
Some of these things come as a result of constructing on the waterways. Now, normally, when you construct on the waterway, when this kind of disaster floods happen, it will affect the communities. So the general advice that we give them as an agency, let them try to avoid constructing on the waterways. We are appealing to the government and any other agency that can support the communities. You are welcome to Karantabatenda. Because right now, the family has left with nothing absolutely. All the houses are fall down, they lose almost everything.
This is the first time a damaging flash flood is happening in the community of Karantabatenda, but villagers are worried as these families here move to get back on their feet after a difficult night. Moudlamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central River region.
The governor of the North Bank region, Lamin Sedikan, and technical advisory committee members continued their tour of the region as part of efforts to bring the government closer to the taxpayers. The delegation held meetings in Jabakunda and Jurunko. Our correspondent in the region, Famara Kanyi, accompanied the delegation, and he now prepared this report.
Day 2 of Governor Sedikan's tour kick-started with a meeting in Jabakunda, attended by the Minister of Environment, senior forestry officials, and the technical advisory committee members in the region. The delegation engaged the community on the importance of tree planting, a cardinal pillar in environmental protection. The community engagement is also part of events marking this year's annual National Tree Planting Campaign. The partner institutions and projects intervening in environmental protection and management. Governor Sedikan and the Minister of Environment Lamin Diba and a delegation of TAG members joined the community on a massive tree planting exercise at the Dobo Forest Park in the Central Badibu district. It was a straight in and out mission with temperatures surging, moving fast enough to catch up with the setting sun all the way in the Upper Nyumi settlement of Jurunko, home of Sefu Mamadou Chati Cham. All the alcalis and community leaders of his district are present here for a dialogue with the governor and his delegation. Quickly, village heads took turns to ask questions for clarifications on various areas of government operations in the district. Top on the list of areas discussed was the issue of fertilizer for farmers. Every opinion here is considered important and relevant. For some alcalos, government should conduct preliminary data collection before the start of the cropping season, establish a correct data of the number of farmers in the country, then import fertilizers against that number to avoid delay during production. Others are concerned about government reducing the level of bureaucracy on the purchase of fertilizers. They argue that fertilizers should be sold at community level to ensure convenience. Unanimously, they thank the president and his government for the ongoing works along the Hakalang Road. They recognize the socio-economic advancement the road will bring to the people of the district once it is finished. Responding to their concerns, Governor Sedika noted that the government of the Gambia and its development partners are working hand in glove to ensure that Gambian farmers have access to fertilizers on time. He called on the people of Oponyomi to have confidence in the government while assuring them that their challenges will be forwarded to the concerned authorities. For the news, I am Famara Kani.
Well, still on marches around provincial Gambia, where the Magazine Model Farm Foundation recently donated farm implements to 10 women groups working under the foundation to support their farming activities. The occasion also witnessed another presentation of a check by the Gambia Groundnut Corporation amounting to $433,600 to the same foundation as part of the corporation's support to women groups. Seydou Kamara tells us more.
The move to support women farmers in the Upper River region is being hailed as a timely one as the country enters yet another cropping season. This set of farm implements were donated by the Magazine Model Farm Foundation in a move to support local women groups in their farming ventures. The foundation has also received a check for $433,600 from the Gambia Groundnut Corporation, also designed to support the women farmers of his philanthropist foundation. According to Honorable Magazine, his foundation since its establishment some 4 years ago has been working to support women to improve their lot through similar engagements.
If you want to lower the poverty, of course you have to contribute to the sectors, productive sectors that can contribute to the development of the individual and development of the country. So we have seen to build a nation, you have to build the builders of the nation. And the builders of the nation, these are the farmers, to our understanding and based on our concept. So those farmers, based on our observation, our experience, we have seen that their farming is limited only to their feeding. So that means the produce that they get from the farms is only to feed them. In fact, it's not even sufficient sometimes. So, but we have understood it's because of they don't have the material. The will is there, but the energy is there, but the materials are not available.
The provision of farm implements and fertilizers to farming rural communities, according to Honorable Magazine, is the main thrust of his foundation. This, he said, enables the foundation to interface directly with the beneficiaries to know how they are affected.
It could be recalled, this is the 4th year when we started this program. It is a program of the foundation, a subsidiary program called Magazine Model Farm. Through that Magazine Model Farm, we are able to accompany the women in their farms, know their problem, and give them the little that we can then. Sometimes we give them 2 bags of fertilizer each, sometimes we give them 4, depending on our earning capacity. I have to be very thankful to GRTS. You have played a very vital role because you accompany us to accompany these women in their farms. That have been broadcasted over the national, over the state TV, and many people have seen that if you get closer to these women, you give them the necessary support, they can definitely, produce enough. So it is in that line that we are able, to secure more partner, among them Gambia Groundnut Corporation.
The Deputy Governor of the region, S.R.J. Conte, commended the Magazi Foundation for the thoughtful initiative of empowering women who are playing a vital role in the commendation drive for food security.
Having philanthropists, well-wishers like Honorable Mohamed Magazi, and as a National Assembly member, coming on board to make sure government's effort is complemented. This is something that we really, appreciate, and that's what we are calling for. As you said, the materials that are here, the farming equipment that are here, are costing almost about $433,600. This is not just a little money; it's a big one, and he could have used this money to do his political campaign or whatever he desire. But he, as he said, he come out is the people that voted for him, and for these people, that's why he went out to get these materials, because agriculture is a sector that is really diverse, and it's a sector that we really need to, to assist to move forward and to move this country forward.
Fatmata Fati and Bintu Jawara, respectively, on behalf of the beneficiaries, expressed joy and appreciation to Honorable Magazi and his foundation members for giving them what they call their most needed support. The latest support from Magazi Foundation is among several other interventions he has championed as a way of giving back to his communities as their representative at the National Bantaba. Seydou Kamara, reporting for GRTS News from Basse Upper River Region.
The National Nutrition Agency with partners continue the implementation of the NAFA program in the Central and West Coast region. As part of the Gambia's Social Safety Net project, Aisa Tujatega tells us more.
This cash transfer and social behavioral change communication being implemented in phrases targets 14% of the extreme poor, numbering over 15,000 households in the country. The National Nutrition Agency is working to supplement domestic income for the poorest households in the Gambia under the new scheme, which has been crucial in uplifting scores of families across the hinterland from extreme poverty. Abdul Aziz Sise is part of the nutrition team leading the cash transfer efforts being driven via the Gambia Social Safety Net project.
To us, the money is not everything. That's the reason why we are giving out the money, because we want those community structures, because of their proximity with the community, to build their capacity so that they'll be going down in the beneficiary household in the community and be training them on some of those modules that were developed in the SBCC component, so that they will know if someone chooses to do any microfinancing, the person will be given the technical know-how as to what microfinance activity that they want to engage in and some of the things that they want to do in order to realize profit or something from it, because this project will one day come to an end, and we want to build resilience of the extreme poor household. And in building resilience, you must build their capacity. You must train them on entrepreneurship and financial literacy, gender-based violence, maternal child nutrition, adolescence, and positive parenting and early childhood development. All these things are modules that are developed by the project, and already IPC networks are trained, MDFTs are trained, and we want it to accompany the cash transfer of the extreme poor.
This NAFA program targets 20 districts in the country identified through a survey which leads officials to the extreme poor needing urgent interventions to support their food needs and other basic amenities.
We don't want to start at once. It is in phases, so we decided to pilot it in 3 districts. And the first district is Wuli West in URR, Upper River Region, and you have Nyanija in CRR, and also Fonyi Bintang in West Coast Region. These are the 3 regions that we want to start with. And when we agree that we want to start, we do it in phases and start with 3 districts. We decided to use the social register of which the project sponsored in the past. And then looking at the social register, we were able to get 2,787 potential beneficiaries in this NAFA program.
Temporary assistance to needy families have been effectively driven to mitigate the impact of poverty, particularly in the rural areas hard hit by the global pandemic.
In URR, we will intervene in 4 districts. We will intervene in Wuli West, Wuli East, Sandu, and Kantora. And in CRR, we're going to intervene, I think, in 6 districts in CRR. That is Nyanija, Nyamina East, Nyamina West, Nyamina Dankunku, Lower Flood West, Upper Salom, and Lower Salom. That is in CRR. In West Coast region, is Fonyi Bintang, Fonyi Bandali, Fonyi Brefet, Fonyi Kansala, and Fonyi Jarol.
The revolving project principally seeks to strengthen coordination of social assistance activities and increase the inclusion of the extreme poor in 3 components of direct payments. The Gambia's first National Social Protection Policy 2015-2025 was designed to contribute towards the alleviation of poverty and vulnerability in the country, which is grappling with extreme conditions caused by the global COVID pandemic. For the news, I am Aissatou Jata Gassama.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we return, the news continues in just a moment. To stay with us. Welcome back to GRTS News. We shift attention to the internationals and in Nigeria, where gunmen have threatened to kill the 15 students who were kidnapped in Zamfara state if ransom demands are not met. They are demanding $850,000 for the release of the kidnapped students. They had earlier killed the 2 security guards and a police officer during the August 15th raid on an agricultural college in Bukhara. Well, details of that in the CGT News report.
The update is that there's so much apprehension in the land, especially within Bakura local government where the invasion took place. But beyond Bakura, generally, Zamfara has been a hotbed for kidnapping for ransom, and other states within the northwestern part of the country. That is the situation. Right now, there's been no update yet from the bandits whether they've made any receipt or they've received any ransom from any sources anywhere. So that is it at the moment. There's been no response, but what I can say is that there's so much apprehension. Parents of the students who have been whisked away are really in low spirits. They're just hoping that they will not kill or take away the lives of these students who they describe as really innocent.
And from the report, of course, in Nigeria, we shift attention to the East African Regional Grouping on Development, IGAD, is urging South Sudan's Peace Party to expedite the implementation of the country's 2018 agreement. Now, Sudan's Prime Minister, who is also the current chair of IGAD, is in Juba for a 3-day visit to try and push the peace process forward. CGTN's Patrick Oyet tells us more.
The East African regional body IGAD says it is concerned that the peace process is moving slower than planned. It says the deal at its current pace of implementation is not providing enough peace dividends to ordinary South Sudanese people and the thousands of armed forces who are still in the training camps. The army led by opposition leader Riek Machar, who is also the country's first vice president, has split into 2 factions which are now fighting.
What is the manifestation of this split is perceived as a manifestation of the whole process. That's why people are very much concerned to revitalize and to support further the government of South Sudan to implement the agreement.
South Sudan's government is asking for financial support to fund the implementation of the 2018 peace agreement. The peace deal created a unity government that brought 5 parties together. The government has 5 vice presidents and 550 members of parliament. It is promising not to return the country to war.
His Excellency Dr. Hamdok will discuss with His Excellency President Salva Kiir issues of the implementation of the peace agreement and especially the recent development.
The 2018 peace agreement dictates that all armed forces be reunited, retrained and redeployed. They were reunited and retrained but have been waiting for graduation for more than a year. The country's parliament has just been formed and it is yet to have its first sitting for business after being sworn in. The clashes between forces of first Vice President Riek Machar is creating fear among many here that violence can spread across the country again. Patrick Oyet, CGTN, Juba, South Sudan.
And from South Sudan, we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll take a look at some soccer news. To stay with us. Welcome back, and now in sports, Steve Biko are back to the top tier of Gambian football after thrashing Jambanjeli United 4-0 in the playoff game at the Independence Stadium in Bakau, where Farmer Abaj has more on that game in this report.
Jam City finished as the third best team in the second division and even received $75,000 in prize money as the second runners-up, but still failed to qualify to the first division after the new GFF format gave Steve Biku, who finished in the 6th position, a second chance, and they took full advantage to Jam City. The playoffs, which saw 4 teams battling for the 2 spots up for grab in the first division, attracted a huge turnout at the Independence Stadium. Jambanjeli had high hopes of defeating the Bakau Giant Killers, but Biko's speed and goal-scoring ability saw them cruise to a commanding 4-0 win. The indications were there for all to see how the evening was going to be for Jam City after just 40 seconds, when Biko's Modlamin Marom missed what really should have been the opening goal. Then on the 22nd minute, Biko would punish Jam City for some uncertain defending, as Adama Bojang out-muscled the Jam City defenders to break the deadlock with a fine finish. That was the beginning of a distressing evening for the traveling Jam City fans, as they watched their side concede a second goal from another poor defending at the back, allowing Adama Bojang to capitalize and make it 2-0 to Biku at halftime. Jam City returned from the break with some energy, but couldn't find their way back into the game, even though Malanjame had a header saved by the Biko goalkeeper. But at the other end, Jam City couldn't handle Biko's attacking prowess, as Modlamin Marom powered home from close range to put the game beyond Jam City in the 64th minute. And on the 88th minute, Biko sealed victory when Modlamin Marom made a clever finish to secure an emphatic victory for the Bakau outfit, who gained promotion back to the first division after several years.
This is not the old Steve Biko, it's a brand new Steve Biko. The teams that are there, they are the big teams. We will go there as the underdogs. The only target that we are going to look at the first division is to maintain the position and give the players experience and try to produce good players for the national team and try to market players, because we have a fantastic young team.
His boys works better than my boys, definitely. They deserve this win. It's a deserved win, yeah. We're going back to the second division. That's where we are. So we are trying to qualify for the first division. So unfortunately, it's not possible. So we have to go back to second division and prepare ourselves well for the next coming season.
It was all disappointment for Jam City and their traveling fans, who will find it difficult to come to terms with missing out on next season's first division football, despite finishing above Steve Biko in the league. For the Giant Killers, they celebrated their long-awaited return to the top tier with their home supporters. Farmer Abaji, GRTS News.
And from sports, we will now take a look at our top stories once again before we end this bulletin of the news. President Adama Barrow have been touring several roads within the Greater Banjul area as part of the proposed OIC project meant to transform the road infrastructure within the metropolis. And the impact of rains have continued as heavy downpours in the Central River region left many families struggling for shelter. And away from home, gunmen in Nigeria's Zamfara state have threatened to kill students who were kidnapped if a ransom of $850,000 is not paid. And the Intergovernmental Authority on Development have urged the South Sudan's Peace Party to expedite the implementation of the country's 2018 agreement. And in sports, Steve Biko has returned to the top tier of Gambian football after winning a playoff game at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. Well, that's it from me, Fatou Janibai, on behalf of the entire news team. Many thanks for joining us and good night.
Sub-Saharan Africa is one of the least contributors to climate change, yet we bear the brunt of its adverse effects. Climate-related catastrophes displace an estimate of 20 million people annually.